What's up, my doers and duets? Welcome to another episode of Sports Size. So we're well into this fat loss program, and one thing that I've actually been doing lately is I've been touching up my programming. And so doing all the programming today, I've been doing some programming for some kids for this week, and then also I've had to program for myself a little bit differently than my athletes. So every time I program, there's several rules that I actually follow, and I'm going to share them with you today so that you can use it to improve your training program, and also you can know what mistakes not to fall into. All right, so let's just get to it, and I'm going to show y'all just how I write it all down. The first thing you got to understand is positive outcomes. All right, so what I mean by negative and positive outcomes is that every training program is going to have both positive and negative features. Even if you try to design it as perfectly as possible, it's just going to have some drawbacks, but it's also going to have some some benefits to it. So for example, if you're trying to work on getting bigger and you're doing a lot of reps and you're working on hypertrophy, it's likely going to happen that you're not going to be as cut at the end, especially this happens during bulking season, we all know. And if you're working on cutting and then you're trying to maintain, you're also not going to get much stronger because you're not going to be able to put in enough volume to build the strength, but you can also maintain the muscle. So if that makes any sense, so if you're trying to get bigger, can't expect to get cut, and if you're trying to get cut, can't necessarily expect to make the gains that somebody that's bigger is making. So now on to the next thing. The next thing actually coincides. So clear goal for selection. So I know my handwriting is dog trash. Anyways, so what I mean by clear goal before exercise selection, so you really need to understand what your goal is. So currently my goal is to do vertical jump. So vertical jump, even though it does involve the entire body, I can't just do an entire program for months on end where it's just focusing on the upper body. And if you're trying to work on your bench press, it just doesn't make sense for you to work on a squat. Yes, so if you understand your goal, you need to also understand the muscles that are all involved in towards that goal so that you can actually work on it for your program. That's why it's important to have a clear goal so you understand it. So a lot of times, especially when people are just trying to lose weight, they just say, I want to lose weight. And then a lot of times as a trainer, I have to ask them, okay, so how much weight are you trying to lose? Is there a particular body type that you're looking for? And then they just say, especially with ladies, they say, I just want to be toned. Well, that tone can be different. Serena Williams can be considered toned by one person, and Anna Kournikova can be considered the one that's more toned. So it really is subjective. So you need to have a clear goal and then understand exactly how to get to that goal. So in my eyes, for me, because I'm trying to work on dunking and my vertical jump, so I need to really look at basketball as a sport, or I need to look at volleyball in terms of that type of training, as to that's the goal that I'm going to be aiming for. I can't necessarily be looking at track athletes when I'm looking at long jump, because that doesn't necessarily go with the vertical jump. So that's the second thing that I focus on when I'm deciding a program. I need to understand exactly what the goal is before I decide to choose the exercises. So then we have the next culprit, which is nutrition. Yeah. So with nutrition, you need to make sure that you got your nutrition on point. So for me right now, I'm eating at 2750 calories per day. I had first aimed for a really high protein mark, which was around 250 to 275. It doesn't really need to be that high. I just need to go with my lean body mass. So as long as I get 174 grams of protein or more per day, I should be fine. But it's critical for you, especially as an athlete or working in a particular sport or playing a particular sport, that you need to hit specific, that you need to make sure that you get an adequate amount of calories, because that is also going to be the fuel while you're doing your training. And then also you need to make sure you get enough protein, because protein is going to help you build the muscle that you need for the better performance. So that's just a simple way to understand nutrition. Now let's go to the next one. All right, now that we got our nutrition down and got our protein shakes ready to go. Now we need to make sure that we challenge the athlete. So what that means, challenging the athlete, is a simple concept that a lot of trainers know is called progressive overloading. So if progressive overloading is that if you keep working out a certain thing, you got to make sure that you challenge yourself so that it's harder and harder each week as you go along, because that's how you're going to make progress. So guys, I totally messed up. While I was editing, I realized that I deleted half of this content, but I will actually show you guys. Anyways guys, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is I was able to actually finish programming. In fact, I actually just finished training some kids right now. But like an idiot, when I was editing this video, I deleted about half of the content that I had, so we only got to the nutrition part. So I actually do have it written down here, so thankfully I didn't throw it away. So the next thing that I was actually going to talk about is that you need to challenge yourself. So one thing athletes and strength and conditioning coaches all in general always talk about is progressive overload. So if you're challenged in one workout, you need to make sure that the next week, as your body adapts, you need to challenge it again, because that's how you're going to progress. So think of it as a step ladder. So that's why because you lose the effectiveness if you keep doing the same workout over and over again. Your body just adapts and you're not able to advance. And then the fifth thing that I talked about, which is recovery. Recovery is one of the most important things. I failed in it before because I haven't gotten much sleep, and I've noticed that entire week it just destroys my gains or destroys any advancements I have in the gym. I mean, there's been studies that have been backed to show that 8 to 10 hours has a significant improvement in your performance in the gym and also your alertness, because you do need sleep.